Welcome to NFL World Starts and Ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And to begin, we are going to preview the Monday Night Football matchup between the Chiefs and the Eagles in Arrowhead. So, in this game, this is going to be an interesting game, I think. And I honestly, I think it's going to be like the last game. I think the Chiefs find a way to win because there's a lot going on with this Eagles team, and I don't know. The Eagles are there we go. The Eagles are all over the place. Maybe they figured it out after the bye. They've had 14 days to prepare 14, 15 days to prepare for this game. So, let's see what happens. But, yeah, I'm very concerned if I'm the Eagles because they have made mistakes. They are turning the ball over. The Chiefs are really good on defense. They don't just have Mahomes and Kelsey. Their defense is really good. Like, Spagnuolo is gonna have that team ready to go. So, that's gonna be the interesting thing. I wanna see how that ends because for the Eagles, it's a tough stretch. They got 5 games, and their next 5 games are tough. They go Chiefs, they go at Chiefs, I think they go home for Buffalo, on the road actually, no, they go let me make sure, let me bring this up. I can't do this off the top of my head. They're at the Chiefs, then they're hang on. Come on, you. Okay, they are at the Chiefs, then they are let me make sure. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, yeah, the at Chiefs, the home for Buffalo, the home for San Francisco, then they're on the road to Dallas, and then they play Seattle. Those are really tough games. And if you slip in any way, that's really bad in terms of the Cowboys have a stretch of games that they can win. So if you lose the next 3, you're finding yourself behind Dallas. You can't afford to lose. And then you gotta go face Dallas after playing San Francisco. And I only thought about this morning. I said, "Huh, San Francisco and Dallas are both when they play Philadelphia. San Francisco plays the week before the Cowboys play the Eagles. Both teams will have 10 days of rest before they play Philadelphia. Because San Francisco plays on Thanksgiving against Seattle and then has 10 days off before they face Philadelphia. Dallas plays Seattle on the Monday or the Thursday after Thanksgiving, has 10 days off before they face Philadelphia in Dallas. That's how insane this is, that both teams will have 10 days to prepare for this game. And when you play San Francisco, that's a tough game to win because they are so good. Like, it's like playing Detroit. Playing Detroit is so difficult because it's a tough game. It's a hard-hitting game. You try to get those games out early in the year, where the Eagles have a stretch of 5 games where each team are going to go right at them. Actually, you can make the case they've had 6 games like that. They played Dallas, they had their bye week, then they have the Chiefs, the Bills, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks. That you can make the case for that. You really can. Next up, for the other side, the Chiefs, you've been all right, to say the least. You've been all right on offense. Your defense has really pulled their own weight and pulled yours. So they did their job. You got to be thrilled by how the Chiefs' defense is playing. But their offense does have to show up for this game. And let's see what happens. I will share my prediction in the game recap and preview for the game recap of week 11. Next up, the Jets bench Zach Wilson. This had to happen sooner or later. And I was looking all over Twitter last night, and a person posted a video of Zach Wilson at BYU, and they said, "Where is this guy, this fiery guy who used to be at BYU? Where is he?" And the answer is, I don't know. The confidence is gone. We said this last year. His confidence is shattered. So try and build him back up again. That's what they brought Aaron Rodgers in for, and yet the confidence is gone. They put in Tim Boyle because the game was getting so far out of hand against Buffalo. The offense actually scored a touchdown, first time in 41 drives. 200 minutes of actual game time. That's absurdity. That is absurdity. 200 minutes. A little over 200 minutes of game time. That's insane. And with any other team, they would have benched their quarterback. The problem is, they don't have any other quarterback. It's Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian. That was it. And Trevor Siemian's on the practice squad. And it wasn't like the Jets' defense put on their best showing either. They did for the first 2 drives, and that was it. But you turn the ball over on the kickoff that only ended up being 3 points, but your offense can't do anything. I'm not saying fire the offensive coordinator. That's not my job. But I'm telling you, this offense does not work. It doesn't work. Zach doesn't look comfortable. They can't run the ball. A couple drives where you're like, okay, that guy is the guy from BYU. That's the kid from BYU. That's the guy who looks like he can be a quarterback. And then there's others that you're like, what is he doing? He just looks so uncomfortable. That's what I'm concerned about, is he doesn't look comfortable and his confidence is waning. We are saying that about Mac Jones in New England. The Patriots offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien said, or seems to indicate, that they don't know what their quarterback situation is. They don't know if it's Mac Jones. They don't know if it's Bailey Zappi. They don't know who. There was talk of it even being Will Grier. We have no idea. I think that's really tainting Mac Jones' confidence. This whole year has kind of tainted his confidence. And him and Zach Wilson find themselves in a similar boat. The confidence is waning. And the team isn't good enough to help him. And that's a concern, at least from an offensive perspective. Moving on to Steelers. The Steelers played the Browns yesterday. Dorian Thompson-Robinson and the Browns beat the Steelers 13-10. And there's 2 news items for this. First of all, the Steelers are planning to sign linebacker Miles Jack, who retired in August after signing with the Eagles in the offseason. Late offseason. But this is what Najee Harris, the running back of the Steelers, says as he vents his frustration about the offense after the loss to the Browns. He says, "I'm tired of this expletive. as he sat at in his locker on the locker room in his locker room alongside of most of his teammates, and as it says here, as it says here, it says sometimes Harris does not want to talk after a loss, like what transpired on Sunday. Excuse me. This was not one of those times. He told CBS Sports, "It's hard, bro. I want to say what I really want to say. It's difficult." Harris didn't let everything out, but he did share some of his thoughts when the reporters gathered around him in his locker. "You're going to have to talk," Harris continued. "I guess I should say, as a team, that's the best way I can say it. There's just a lot of stuff that just goes around that you guys don't see. I'm just I'm just at the point where I am tired of this." Harris was asked later, "Is it fixable?" To which Harris says, "Are we able to fix this?" Expletive. Harris was still reminded that the Steelers are, as a record standpoint, still in good shape. The Steelers are 6-4. Entering Sunday's game against the fifth-ranked team in the AFC standings. Harris went and said, "Yeah, record-wise, we're good. You can look at the record. You can do one or two things. You can look at the record and say, okay, we're still good right now. Or you can look at the record and be like, if we keep playing this type of football, how long is this blank going to last?" I look at it like, how long is it going to last? Y'all could look at, like, it's a good record, but this is the NFL. Winning, like how we did, is not going to get us anywhere. It's extremely wordy, but he basically is saying, the way we're playing right now, even if we win ugly, which is true. They win ugly. They don't win by 10 points or more. Anytime the Steelers play, they play an ugly brand of football. The offense can't move the ball at all. And when they do, it's usually because of field position. That's how they win. And I feel like there's a lot of teams that are like that this year. That the only way of them moving really the football is by field position. They can't move the ball on their own, which is a little disturbing if you're from those teams' perspectives. Next up, the Lions are off to the best start since 1962. That was the last time the Lions went and were 8-2. They had an 8-2 record. It was 1962. Let me put this in perspective. All right. Neither of my parents were alive in 62. The last one of the last times the Lions won a championship was 1962 when Bobby Lane was the quarterback. Bobby Lane was this quarterback in 62. Because I think, if I'm not mixing this up, the Lions won in 62, the Eagles won in 63, if I'm not mixing this up. But that's one of the last times the Lions won a championship was in 62. They're off to their best start since 1962, a year that I believe they won the championship. It's insane. Next up, the Browns have signed Joe Flacco to their practice squad as quarterback insurance. He will be on the practice squad at least to begin, expected to move to the active roster. There were a rash of injuries, though. Packers' Aaron Jones was carted off. Chargers' Joey Bosa was carted off. Nothing definitive of those as of right now, but devastating injuries nonetheless. Next up, Chargers head coach snaps at a reporter. The reporter says, "Well, coach, are you still going to call plays for the defense?" Which he snapped at. He said, "Yes, I'm going to call plays. We don't have to ask this question." Now, part of that is frustration. The other part of that is this defense as a whole has struggled, but part of that's frustration from not winning. The Chargers have had a chance to win these games and don't. As the Chargers go to Green Bay and lose to Green Bay, Jordan Love has 300 yards, first career game over 300 yards through the air. The game's 23-20. The Chargers have the ball. No timeouts. They have to go get a field goal. Herbert scrambles around the pocket and finds Quentin Johnston going right down the field. He's beat his man. You at least get in field goal range. By the time you spike it, you probably have about 15 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. So you don't have time enough to run a play. And he finds Quentin Johnston. He throws it deep down the sideline. Right down the right sideline. And hits Quentin Johnston right in the hands, and he drops it. That is pretty indicative of the season for the Chargers. That's pretty much it. So many times they had the ball hit them in the hands and they drop it. Keenan Allen dropped a pass in the game against the Packers. He ended up catching a touchdown later in the game, but he dropped a pass. These things keep happening to them. The Chargers keep finding a way to charge it. That's what they do. He drops this ball. Herbert throws it on a complete rope. And Quentin Johnson, you can't. That's a player at this point in the year in November. Every game matters in the NFL, but in November they matter a lot more. You can't make those mistakes, especially when the quarterback throws you the ball and you just drop it. You completely beat your defender. There's no one crossing over. You're going to catch this ball, get 2 feet down, and get out of bounds. That's what you're going to do. But that's not what they did. He dropped it. So that's part of that. But I also think it's time to make a decision on Brandon Staley, and the decision has to be he's got to go. It doesn't work. It won't work. Now, Joey Bosa, like I said, got carted off. Excuse me. That can't happen anymore if you're the Chargers. How many games are you gonna lose by one score? I was thinking about this. I watched the Sunday night game between the Broncos and Vikings. The Broncos have won 4 in a row and have beaten teams by the biggest lead they had was against the Chiefs, where they scored 24 points. Everyone else, they scored and won the game by 2 points or less. That's it. They won last night by a point. 1 point. It's the same thing. The Chargers have lost a lot of games by 3 points or less. They can't move the ball. And Justin Herbert is throwing these passes that your guys are just dropping. You gotta help him out. It's as the wide receiver has to be so good, he's gotta help the quarterback. Just like the quarterback's gotta help the wide receiver. You gotta do both. It's not a one-way street. I'm not saying the Chargers would have won that game by that play. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you will have a chance to tie if you do that. If you catch that ball. Next up, tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we will have Hard Knocks in season covering the Miami Dolphins. Actually, excuse me. Tonight, as I'm reading the HBO ad, tonight starts the new season of Hard Knocks. And I hope this Hard Knocks is better because the Jets one was really bad, in my opinion. It just wasn't entertaining. There was too much going. None. The people that we're talking to were intellectually smart, but bring no um personality to the screen. So it's kind of hard. I hope seeing what Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill, what they bring. I can't wait to see that. And our game recaps for week 11, excluding the Monday Night Football game, our record is 36-22. The Ravens beat the Bengals 34-20 in a game where Joe Burrow got hurt. Mark Andrews got hurt. Both are out for the year. Mark Andrews is going to confirm that with a doctor he's going to see this week. But it's pretty likely that he's out for the year. Joe Burrow is out for the year. Jake Browning is going to be the quarterback. 11 rookie quarterbacks are going to start a game this year. It's insane. Can they win with Jake Browning? I have no idea. Should they call someone to see if they could bring? Yeah, they should. I don't know who you call, but you got to call somebody. This isn't going to work. If you still feel you have a chance, you got to do it now. Next up, the Cowboys demolished the Panthers 33-10, but the score doesn't tell the story. The offense for the Cowboys was not perfect by any means. The third downs were bad. Third down conversion rate was bad. At one point, they were 4 of 11. They were really bad on third downs. The Panthers ended up scoring a touchdown on almost a 9-minute drive. So, and that took almost the entire third quarter. Dak had 2 touchdown passes. Didn't turn the ball over. Was solid. under 190 in terms of yards. Not what you expect, but they did enough. This was more of a conservative effort for Dak in this game. So, the one thing if I'm the Cowboys I'm concerned about, I and it's not really a concern, it's more of what I would like. I would want the Cowboys to start faster. A lot of times they punt on their first drive. They punt because they can't move the ball. They don't score on the opening drives very often. I can't even remember the last time they scored on their opening drive because they usually punt on them or turn the ball over on downs. So I would like to see them go and score on their first drive to start a game and then come out at halftime. That's what I would like. Otherwise, they've been good. Deron Bland had another pick six. He ties an NFL record in a season with 4. He's been a corner that we didn't know if he could play outside, but he's done a good job. Um, I tend to believe that due to the temperatures, the guys were struggling, cramping and stuff. Um, at different points, players were kind of cramping and walking to the sidelines, and they were fine. So, because CeeDee Lamb, it looked like he was cramping a little bit. Stephon Gilmore is cramping a little bit. I think the heat was kind of different for the Cowboys, so they struggled a little more. Now, the Cowboys have to make a quick turnaround. They play on Thanksgiving against Washington. You must find a way to play that game because it's short turnaround for the next 2 weeks. Cowboys play Washington on Thanksgiving, and then play Seattle. You must have a quick turnaround. I will make notes. Yeah, Geno Smith got hurt in the game against the Rams. Did not return with an elbow injury. We have no news on that at this time. For the Panthers, their defense was really good. I like their defense coordinator. I think he could be a head coach somewhere. I thought he was the Denver defensive coordinator last year. I thought Sean Payton was gonna keep him. Turns out no. I'm electing not to. Goes to Carolina and did a good job. The offense, though, was really bad. That one drive that took 9 minutes, they showed a good identity, and an identity that they hadn't shown. Bryce Young looked comfortable. They haven't done that. They can't run the ball. In that place, they ran the ball, they end up scoring a touchdown. If Frank Reich does that, he keeps his job. If he doesn't, he loses his job. Simple as that. Jay Glazer said in the pregame show that his is getting very warm because of what's happening. And it's fair to say that, absolutely. Moving on to the Browns sneak by the Steelers 13-10. In a game that, look, it was not going to be very high scoring. Both defenses are good and great at times too. The offenses are not good. That's the concern. But Thompson Robinson ends up doing enough, brings them down the field to kick the game winner. They did enough to win the game. Now, my score prediction for the Monday Night Football game, I have the Chiefs beating the Eagles 28-24. I just don't think the Eagles are going to be able to keep up. That Chiefs defense is good enough that they'll get turnovers. I could see the Chiefs beating the Eagles 28-24. And I'll tell you a secret before we go. Normally when I watch a Monday Night Football game, if Peyton and Eli are on, I watch Peyton and Eli. This game, Peyton and Eli are on, and I'm not watching it. I'm going to watch the actual broadcast to see what happens in this game between the Chiefs and the Eagles. I have the Chiefs beating the Eagles, but I can't wait to see this game. Probably the best Monday Night Football game of the year. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.